And happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to the Plug Talk Sports live show. This is episode 150. Myself, Danny Torres. We got Janka, we've got Brandon, and we've got a new guest here. He's going to be a regular, so you guys are going to be seeing him a lot more. Juan Pablo Martinez, but we call him Wampy. He was one of my students at Columbus. And we kind of grew as it was kind of like an older brother, little brother bond. I hated him sometimes. He hated me. I loved him. He loved me sometimes. But he's going to be joining us. And Wampy, if you want to say anything, the stage is yours.
What's up, guys? I'm really thankful to be here. This is all I've wanted, like, ever. I love sports journalism. I love sports media. Always wanted to have a podcast. Had one for a little bit. Fortunately, got discontinued. Rest in peace now and then. And now we're here.
All right, man. All right. Welcome to the pod. We're gonna start off how we usually do, and that's our plugs of the weekend. Shameless plugs. We did good last week, so let's do bad. So we just pretty much Wampy. We just talk about, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be sports related. We always talk about what was bad, something you saw bad or something you experienced bad in the past week, and then something good that you saw or experienced in the past week. So we'll start with bad. We'll go with Janka. Janka never has anything bad to say. Look at him right now. He's already saying, "Oh, I don't know. I don't have anything bad to say."
Honestly, I really don't have anything bad. Spent the whole week in Marco Island.
Yeah, we did.
Nothing to complain about. Maybe the only thing you could say is like it was like super hot. Like you can feel it through your shirt hot. But other than that, like, I don't know, man. I'm just like kind of already ticked off that college football and NFL hasn't gone here yet. And I'm just like having some sort of attack. And I'm just like really like on edge right now. So maybe that's like has me ticked off a little bit. But
I mean, there's a lot to be ticked off as a Hurricanes fan, so I want to throw that out there.
Shout out to the Cowboys, boy.
Brandon?
But, John, I'm telling you that we're almost there, though. I mean, again, there's football this week, though, man. I mean, Nevada, Hawaii. Gotta love the Mountain West late at night.
Florida State, Georgia Tech on Saturday.
Yeah, that too. That too. A lot of things going on so far. But I would say bad thing I've probably seen this week is that we had to be Shams leaving stadium.
Oh, yeah, man.
For those who don't know, after 6 or so years, I believe, he leaves. And it's like no more Woj or Sham bombs going back and forth on the NBA trade deadline. I hate see that rivalry ends. Again, who knows where Sham might go? Hopefully, the Athletic, maybe even an ESPN tryout, maybe. Who knows? But, I hate to see Shams leave stadium, though.
Hey, I think one of my favorite parts was when Shams was getting a little frisky there with Kay Adams.
Oh. The whole love triangle.
There was something going on there. I don't know what it was, but there was something going on there. Wampy, talk to me. Something bad in the past week.
I mean, like, this is more recent, but like 2 days ago, I actually lost my phone. And it died. So I had no idea where to find it. I had like a little burner phone for now. So we're thugging it out. I mean, other than that, honestly, I can't complain. Started school today. Actually, was my first day of school. It was my senior year.
There we go.
There we go. Moving on. And yeah, other than losing my phone, I honestly had a great week.
Okay, good. For me, I mean, it doesn't have to be. For me, I don't always pick on Janka, but I don't think I have anything bad in this past week.
Hey, bro.
I think I will refer back to when we went to Dolphins training camp. And Wampy, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. This only happens to me. You can't make this up. I get out of the car, and the first thing that happens are these two, like, John, how old were they? Like 8, 7?
Bro, they had to be like 6 or 7, bro. It was the funniest thing I ever.
They're arguing football. I'm not paying attention. They're arguing football. And this kid comes up to me. He taps me. He's like, "Excuse me, sir." And I look at him, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And then he's like, "Do you think Dak Prescott sucks?" And this would happen to me. Like, I just got here. This would happen to me.
Look, I mean, Danny, that's karma for being a Cowboys fan. You know, like false hope, Dak not being good at football. Like, it just happens. You know, like
listen,
kind of what you get.
I know somebody that said, and I don't think this is how dating works, but I know somebody that said this, like, this year I'm gonna find my wife, and I told him, like, yeah, and that's like me saying the Cowboys are gonna win the Super Bowl. But yeah, that would have to be my bad, man. I was just like, that stuff only happens to me, only to me. Good, Janka, hit us with the good.
Good. After having a terrible July for baseball with my Yankees, we're finally at the top of the American League now. After losing like 18 of our like last 20, we finally like had a good stride and we're back on top. So thank you. But unfortunately, Jazz got hurt, but he should be back before playoffs. So that's a good thing for me, bro. Just as long as we have a first round bye, I'll take it.
All right, Brandon.
Well, for me, it's got to be an obvious one. National security for U.S. men's basketball is finally safe. Steve Kerr saying he wants to step down for the next round of Olympics, which does open up the door for Eric Spoelstra. So, again, South Florida blah. We got to bring a little more South Florida towards that. So, Eric Spoelstra potentially could be, for the first time ever, a head coach for the U.S. team. So, that's definitely for me. Again, Steve Kerr, Jason Tatum, whatever, that's in the past now. But Eric Spoelstra hopefully uses Tatum more our next round in Los Angeles.
Listen, that's a hot topic around here because Janka thinks that Spoelstra sucks. So
I think Spoelstra will get the job. I think he's more of a likable coach than Tyronn Lue. And I think he has like that connection with Bam and with most other players because he's had like I guess a longer coaching career, and I think he's good friends with Anthony Edwards. So I think that's gonna like push it a little bit further. And obviously with the Heat versus the Celtics kind of like rivalry, him and Jason Tatum might have already
I'm gonna laugh if he doesn't play Tatum. I'm gonna
Bro, that would be the funniest thing. Yo, number one topic next week.
Yo, he's gonna text Kobe and he's gonna post it.
That was just that one time, guys.
Wampy.
Something good. I mean, I don't know. This week has been kind of like pretty calm. I don't think anything crazy good has happened to me. Football's coming back. I'm excited about that. Gotta love football. Some preseason games. Preseason was great. I've been glued to the TV the whole time. But other than that, yeah, football's back.
For me, it's gonna have to be getting back into the busy season, into the swing of things with Nova and Barry. Pretty excited. It's all about making relationships. Heading out to a first basketball practice at Barry. Women's basketball, have a great relationship with the coach, and she invited me over to practice, so I'm excited to see that. And of course, we got volleyball and basketball starting soon, men's and women's soccer. So getting right into the grind, into the busy start to the year. So can't complain. Love that. Love what I do. So can't complain. Let's start off. First topic of the night: NFL preseason week 2. I know last week we did who we thought was impressive and who we thought wasn't impressive. I'll go first. I'm not going to lie to you. I got the same 2 teams as last week. For me, most impressive, Chicago Bears again. First 2 preseason games, they have blown their opposition out of the water. And Caleb Williams, not looking bad. It was a 27-3 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. And, of course, Caleb Williams ran for a TD. Obviously didn't play a whole lot, but he's looking good. He's not looking bad. He has impressed in his 2 starts at Soldier Field, his 2 performances at Soldier Field. But, again, I think that The Bears stood out once again, and for the second week in a row, who I think was the least impressive, it's going to have to be the Buffalo Bills. Even though they won, they only put up 9 points, and the Steelers only put up 3 points. I mean, it could have been the Steelers too this week, but still not impressed by the Buffalo Bills. I know it's only preseason, but come on, like you got blown out by the Bears, and then you only put up 9 points against the Steelers. Like, not too impressed. So for me, it's gonna have to be Bears and Bills once again.
Yeah, this is probably the best time of football because it's always like the nobodies that we know, right? Like Hard Knocks guys, like Nathan Peterson type of hours. But for me personally, I'm actually looking at someone that Jonka knows very well of. I actually got Jacksonville Jaguars backup quarterback Mac Jones. He went ballistic in his preseason game against the Buccaneers, 20-7, winning that one. 2 touchdowns, over 200 yards passing. And frankly, I mean, I'm not saying they're the best quarterback room in their division, but that backup slot with Mac Jones looks impressive. He's looking impressive all preseason. I haven't really seen a lot of bunches of complaints coming from their camp. So he's definitely impressed me. The team that's kind of disappointed me throughout last week in preseason, I would have to say the Green Bay Packers. 2 points against the Broncos. Worst quarterback room in the entire NFL. Probably the worst defense if you want to add on all the guys that left as well. Again, we're talking about preseason, so not the first string guys there. But still, 2 points. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Jocko, Wampy, either of you guys can go.
I'll give it to the newbie today.
All right. Honestly, I was impressed with Houston. I know they're going to be a big team coming into it. They're obviously they retooled their wide receiver room. They have C.J. Stroud at the helm, but the way that they were able to move the ball, they won 28-10 against the Giants. Just honestly looked amazing. To have Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Stephon Diggs, those are 3 guys that can be number 1 options on almost any team in the NFL. And to honestly have them in one receiver room, no one's going to be able to guard that. And a team, I was honestly disappointed in. I mean, to be fair, you guys took both of mine. I was going to say the Bills. Bills only 9 points. That was bad. But then the scoreagami, the 27-2, that was bad.
Yeah.
That would I don't think there's ever been a scoreagami in a preseason game. That was really bad. At that point, that's one of those games. I understand it's preseason, but you gotta sit down, look at yourself in the mirror, and ask, what are you doing with yourself? Whether it's the coaches, whether it's the quarterback room, putting up 2 points in a game, 0 offensive points. Come on.
That is bad. That is really bad. But hey, you had a good point. I think Houston, when I was looking over this past week, Houston was one team that impressed me. I had just picked Chicago over them just because of the 2 back-to-back impressive weeks. But Houston is a good choice. Jonka?
I'm gonna have to agree with all of you with Chicago, bro. I was really impressed with Caleb Williams, even though I was down on him most of the time. But that I was really impressed with that throw to Rome Odunze or Dunze, whatever you want to call him. Yeah, bro. He's a stud. I like the passing game. They're really spread out, and I'm enjoying it so far. But as for the team that I was disappointed in, I'm gonna be objective. I think it's gonna be 2 teams and maybe 3. I'll include the Bills in there, but they don't have Josh Allen. They don't have most of their starters, which are basically the piece of the team. Their backups are complete dog. But I'm gonna have to say the Steelers on the purpose. I don't and I still don't understand what they're doing with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. What they're gonna do with that situation. They're mishandling it, and that could be their downfall for the year because they have a lot of weapons on the outside. And if they can figure out that QB situation, they're going to be on a downward spiral really quick, and that's not how you want to start the year. I'm going to have to say my team, my Patriots. They had that game against the Eagles, bro. And on that last drive where you can just hit a field goal and win the game, for some reason they don't have either Joe Milton or Drake May in that last drive, which is actually essential for at least to try it out. If he doesn't score or they don't make it, that's fine. That's what experience does to you. You learn to lose, you learn to win, whatever it is. But having Bailey Zappi in on that last drive legit triggers me a lot. Like that guy is probably not going to even make the roster. Drake May is probably going to be a week 1 or maybe like week 7 starter if Jacoby doesn't play good. But overall, I don't like the mishandling of these QBs for both these teams. And I know they want to use Drake May more or Joe Milton. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I think all of us have admitted Joe Milton looks scary.
He's that guy.
Bro.
He's that guy at the SEC. But no, John, let me ask you though. I mean, so we don't like any Conference USA guys in Bailey Zapp. We don't like Western Kentucky Hilltoppers anymore, man.
I don't. They use
Zappy's like preseason.
Listen, I'm not hating on Bailey Zappi, bro. But the thing is that you picked up Drake May in the first round, and then you picked up Joe Milton in the 6th round, and you got an experienced veteran in Jacoby Brissett. Why do you have a 4th stringer in the last drive of the game to at least win you the preseason game, bro? Give it to one of these young guys to at least get some sort of reps in or some sort of like end of the game situation where they're probably going to be in most of the time because their offense is not up to date, is not up to the standard. Their defense is good, but is it going to keep them in games? Probably, but it's going to be close games. And in those situations, you need your rookie QB in Drake May, who I'm expecting to be the starter week 1, to be in that situation so he knows that when it happens again, he knows how to handle the time, who to pass it to, how to run the offense. So that's just me triggering, bro. Like, Jerome Mayo needs to improve on that. He needs to decide by next week, I need to hear at least who the week 1 starter is because we're only like not that far away, bro.
So I want to talk about the home team. I want to talk about Miami. There's 2 questions that I have that I know maybe Brandon and Wampy can talk about this more because I know Jonka's a Patriots guy and you guys know I'm a Cowboys guy. One, what's going on with Odell Beckham Jr.? That's my first question. What's going on with him?
So from what I've been able to report on, because again, I've been able to freelance all across for Dolphins, but from everywhere I've gone, it's basically that he's okay, he's fine. It's just you can't really have him in the preseason getting injured again. I mean, River Raycraft, I don't know if you guys heard or not. Yeah. He had an upper body injury he suffered. He's going to be out a few weeks. Probably the first half of the season, at least first 3 weeks or so. So for Odell Beckham himself, I mean, I've seen him at training camp and practices doing sprints around, similar to what they have Jordan Poyer and other guys who are also kind of on that bridge of 30-plus years. So he's just going to get himself warmed up, get ready for Jacksonville week 1. And I don't really have a lot of concerns about that. There was a report that Tua said in a press media availability that he understands that he's trying to get back on the field. Everyone in the locker room understands he's trying to get back on the field. So even though they're not, running routes with them, they're with them. So I have no regard of Odell sabotaging, but I definitely do believe he's just trying to be healthy.
Yeah, I've seen, like, the way I've come to think about it more is when you have a guy obviously older, he's proven himself that he has talent. He still has something left in the tank. He was great on 3rd down in Baltimore. Very good, very high percentage catch rate on slants, quick, short routes, which is what he's going to be doing in Miami to take some stress off of Tyreek and Jalen. So in reality, why do we need to put him in the preseason? What's the point? We already know what he's good at. We already know what he's going to do. We already know what he's going to why he's in Miami. Why are we going to risk getting a 30-year-old who does have injury problems, injured, and have him face more contact when he could just sit on the sideline, rest up, prepare, because it's not like he's not doing anything. He is preparing, just not in-game. He already has that in-game experience, so why are we going to throw him into the preseason to get hurt? Just doesn't make sense.
That is a good point. And my second question to you guys, I don't know if you guys saw it today, but Tua Tagovailoa talking about Brian Flores. What did you guys make of that?
Honestly, I think that was one of my favorite things I've heard all day. From the jump, Brian Flores hated on Tua's life, on his existence. He basically he was a castaway to Tua, consistently going back to Ryan Fitzpatrick when, he should have let Tua develop. Consistently hating on Tua, making Tua look like this awful quarterback. And I feel like the media, because he did that, it made the media think he was this awful quarterback, which led to even more problems with him. So Tua coming back and basically saying, hey, I didn't like him. We weren't cool. He hated on me every chance he got. Tua said he basically called him a loser and basically told him he should not be on the team every single day. He said that it affected him mentally. And he came out and said something beautiful. If you tell someone you suck every single day, they're going to start to believe they suck. When Mike McDaniels came in, said, you're the perfect guy, continue to tell him, you're great, you're great, you're great. This is a system around you. You're the main piece. Now look what's happening. He's been in the MVP talks back-to-back years.
Yeah, I mean, again, the tape doesn't lie either. It doesn't lie at all. I mean, we're talking about NFL passing leader from 2024, and that was all in his second year away from Brian Flores. But I did find a lot of the results on Twitter, NFL Twitter specifically, people talking about, Tua's soft for being, taking that too much to heart away from Brian Flores. I mean, he is not soft. For whatever he did in his senior year at Alabama, that should be enough to, dispute any softness from Tua. But for regards to Brian Flores and the whole comments and everything like that, I mean, the guy went 1-7, then 7-1 to end the year. All right. This is the most back and forth guy I don't think the Dolphins have ever had, besides who is it again? The guy that looks like a lizard, starts with a P, Flobin, whatever his name is.
Flobin.
Yeah, Flobin. I'm telling you right now, besides him, Flores, in my lifetime, one of the worst coaches in Dolphins history. And we had Dan Campbell here for a year. Again, Dan's doing good now. But for Flores, though, I mean, he's a defensive guy. He's been a defensive guy from that New England type of system and coaching. So they're going to be more aggressive. They're going to be more, I hate to say it, but kind of what you see from season 3 of Last Chance U type of coach, right? So they're going to be guys that are just going to be cussing around and saying all the negative things to try to push guys. And Tua's not that type of quarterback. He's just not that type of team, which is, of course, what McDaniel is now taking advantage of. So for Tua, great for him to be truthful. Glad this got out. And love the fact got out on the Dan Le Batard show. South Florida native. So it was good to see.
Yeah, you got to figure out a way. Every player is different. As a coach, you need to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And obviously, we know the drama behind Brian Flores. When he got out of that job here in Miami, he then sued the NFL, I believe, for racial discrimination. That I don't think got anywhere. No one's ever talked about it ever again. But yeah.
Well, it's still an ongoing lawsuit. They talked about it on the show. It's still an ongoing lawsuit. It's continuing. It's just kind of swept under the rug right now.
Yeah, no one really talks about it. Is it important to the league right now? I mean, are people going to be hyped about it? I don't think so. Tua Tagovailoa, I think, is the bigger name and the bigger person right now than Brian Flores. So I think results and just career-wise, it just speaks for itself. So I think that's the answer right there.
Yeah, but if I could say one thing, though, about the Dolphins preseason, excluding Tua, because Tua did have his first drive of 2024, 51 yards, a touchdown, right? But 2 shout-outs. Shout out to the Miami defense, holding the Commanders for 6 points. And Chop Robinson getting that first sack in Aqua. And also shout out Mike White. Neck-to-neck backup quarter position. The guy actually balled out. Had his best preseason game, probably his best summer performance through training camp and the preseason. So that's 2 shout-outs right there. Flores, he's probably kicking dirt right now. He's probably punching air looking at his Dolphins team win. So I'm happy to see the Dolphins 2-0 in preseason too.
Talking about the Commanders, Jonk, I got to ask you, you were high on Jaden Daniels, and he's been named already going to be QB1 in Washington. Do you think he can hang with the QBs in that division? I mean, no one's going to be talking about Daniel Jones, to be honest with you, in New York. But be competing with Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott in Dallas and Philadelphia in that division. Do you think he can bring the challenge to them?
Man, I don't think he'll have the numbers to compete, but as an overall team, they do have weapons. I think their defense is going to improve a little bit. He does, Jaden Daniels, he has a big arm, but he can also run it. He's a little smaller Lamar Jackson. I mean, I think that's what they need because I don't think they have any stability on the O-line. So if you're going to have a bad O-line, you need somebody that can escape and make some plays. Yeah, I think that's the perfect player they could have gotten. Personally, I wanted him more over Drake May, but I think it's going to be interesting because, I mean, obviously no disrespect for any other teams, but I think the Eagles are on a prove-it year. I think the Cowboys are, I mean, after all the vacancies that they had over the offseason.
Yeah.
All this drama with the contracts and stuff. And the Giants, I forget the Giants. It's so bad. I think they have a chance to surprise people.
Yeah.
And I think you don't want to sleep on this guy because we saw what he did in LSU. He torched the Gators. Man, that game was crazy to me. Sorry, Brandon.
That's a crazy shout out.
Hey.
Right. That's great.
But I think they can do it. They got Scary Terry. I think they got, what's his name? I always forget his name, bro. He's a good guy. He's a crazy good guy. Whatever. I'll remember it later. I think they got Logan Thomas as their tight end. He's a sleeper. But overall, I think
he's a little bit old.
I'm looking up right now, bro. Screw this, man.
Were you thinking of Jahan Dotson?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, bro. I think it's going to be a really interesting year with the Commanders. And you better not sleep on the Commanders. I'm telling you that much. As much as like they've been a troll team over the last couple of years with the Redskins and the changing of the name and the stupid name as the Commanders, they got some weapons. They got a good QB right now. They're setting him out for I think the third week. I think they're going to be ready.
I don't think they'll win the division.
No.
But I think that they'll be competitive, a lot more competitive than they have been in the past years. I think in the past years, obviously, this has been a two-team division, right? It's been Eagles-Cowboys, just back and forth. I think the Commanders will be a lot more competitive. I think that division this year will be very interesting to see as we have a surprise by Jonka's grandmother walking in the background. But I was looking at the roster last night. I'm very curious to see how Saquon Barkley does in the Eagles. I'm very curious to see how that's going to work out and how Nick Sirianni. I think, the same way we were just talking about Brian Flores and Tua Tagovailoa, I don't think there's the best from what we've seen and what we've seen from reports. I don't think there's the best of relationships between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. We saw last year some of the things of him screaming at Jalen Hurts in practice and not saying so much of nice things. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic works, and especially they kind of choked towards the end of the season last year.
The problem with the Eagles, bro, and I said this during last season, is that Jalen Hurts is the problem. It's not the head coach. It's not the other players. It's him. He runs the ball too much. You got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert on the outsides, bro. Why are you running the ball to run it in on a 1 yard line? Just give it to your running back, let them score, and let's go on with the game. Why is it that you have to be the guy? You have to prove everybody, I'm valid. Like, I don't understand that.
I think that stems over from college. I think through his college career, he's been trying to do that and trying to prove that I am the guy. And I think that's why we saw those switches in college. So I think that stems from that.
He made the Super Bowl. Okay, got it. We know you're good. Just give it to your running back. Let him run it in. He does it. That little tush push is unnecessary, bro. It's really unnecessary.
But it's not like Jalen's calling the tush push too. You can't fault him on the play calling. If there's designed QB runs and stuff like that, that's on the offensive coordinator. I understand what you're trying to say and saying that, like, DeAndre, they had Swift last year.
Yeah.
Great running back. Devonta Swift or Devonta Smith, and A.J. Brown on the outside, Dallas Goedert. There's a bunch of weapons, and you have a great pass-blocking offensive line. You could definitely air it out, but they're a run-heavy offense. They've always been a run-heavy offense. A.J. Brown stays in the game for a majority of the game because he blocks really well. Dallas Goedert is a solid blocking tight end. Number 1 offensive line in the league. They're a read option, RPO type of offense that pushes the ball vertically when the defense creeps up. So in reality, due to the play calling, he does most of, the scramble drills and all that. But honestly, there's a lot more QB powers and QB runs that make him seem like he has to be that guy. So I also feel like there might be a lot of coaching influence to it.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Anyways, we're going to move on to a little bit of soccer. We'll talk about the home team here, Inter Miami CF. I don't want to say that the light at the end of the tunnel for this season is dim, but there was a press conference recently with head coach Tata Martino, and I think he is a little concerned about the availability of Messi going forward this year. Obviously, he was not selected for the national team of Argentina for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers. He's been out since the Copa America final that was here in Miami. I think this injury is a little bit more serious than what people expected. Obviously, the team was bounced out by Monterrey in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They were just bounced out of Leagues Cup by the defending MLS champions Columbus Crew. They're back in action in league play this upcoming weekend against FC Cincinnati, a team who's right on their tail in the Eastern Conference. And last time they played, they put 5 or 6 goals on Miami. So if Miami does not get a trophy this year, is it a failure of a season? Granted, I will say that yes, last year we had Messi come in halfway through the season. They won Leagues Cup. This year he's had a full season with Miami, but he has had injuries and he has missed time. And we all know, I think, that this Miami team, even though they have players, I think this Miami team obviously functions better when Messi is on the field. But there is also some coaching blame. It is something I spoke to Jonko with in the past week, is that Tata needs to make his subs a lot earlier. And also, Luis Suarez can't run anymore. The guy cannot run anymore. You see him when he's on the field. He struggles to run. Play him the first half, and then just put Campana in the second half, because Suarez cannot do it. He does not have the legs. I get it. It sells tickets. The people want to see Suarez, but he literally cannot do it. There was a lot of opportunities in that game where they lost in the Leagues Cup against the Columbus Crew, where Suarez had a lot of opportunities to take the ball forward on counterattacks that could have been dangerous. Instead, he stopped the ball, stopped the play, stopped the counterattack, and waited till he got more help, because he could not take a player on one-on-one. It's that bad for Luis Suarez. So I think if they don't get a trophy this season, obviously any year where you don't get a trophy for any team in any sport it's a failure, but I think there will be some questions going into the off season if they don't get any trophies this year.
Yeah, I think it should be just plain and simple. They've been the favorites to win the MLS from the beginning of the season, and they still are the favorites to win MLS, even without Messi. I mean, we're talking about 5 points ahead of Cincinnati in the Eastern Conference. And frankly, even when he's gone, right, Jordi Alba still is able to get games done. Busquets is still out there whenever he's healthy on the pitch, not fumbling around. Sometimes he does turn over the ball, which does result in goals for an opposing side. But from what I saw, especially during the Messi tenure so far, a lot of it is just because of international play taking away the talent from the team. It was a World Cup, and then all of a sudden it's this Copa America where Messi, he's going to be gone for who knows how long until the second half of this season. And you have guys that are like, as you said before, Suarez and, Jordi Alba, as I mentioned, guys who are aging. So there's not going to be a lot of talent left for this team going towards next year where you say it's good quality. Now, Messi, I believe he's going to be done after the 2025 season. I believe that's what his contract currently states for that.
Yeah.
And this is going to be territory where it will be make or break. This is right now, this current season, you're ahead by a lot. You're still going to be the favorites. You still got good talent on the pitch, let alone it's not just the old guys. I mean, Leo Capana is a guy I like to mention all the time. And then, Callender might be one of the best goaltenders in the MLS as of right now. So I think overall, besides defensively with a cornerback, they should be able to come out of the MLS and win the cup. So it would definitely be a failure in my eyes, even without Messi on the pitch.
I will say something before you guys go. Having worked in MLS and been around the league, I have seen so many times a team that absolutely dominates the regular season, and then when it comes to the MLS Cup playoffs, that favorite does not win. And we have something that we saw last year. The Columbus Crew come out of nowhere and wins the whole entire thing. That's a very regular thing in the MLS. So I just want to state that and put that out there.
None of us had Columbus Crew winning last year. And I remember that vividly. We all made our brackets, and that didn't last long. But me and Daniel were watching in Marco out of that game, bro. Once Inter Miami took that 2-0 lead, that's when the subs should have been made for Suarez. And maybe one more. I mean, Cello. I can't stand Cello, bro. Oh, my God. I'm on my life, bro. Thank God that Kristoff was not playing in that game, because that game would have just been a blowout for Columbus. But overall, I think taking out Matias Rojas, that's when the games got a bit yeah, bro. Once they scored those 2 goals in those 2 minutes, it was I just had a feeling in my heart, bro.
That's the bad thing. Like, you have a 2-0 lead and you concede 2 goals to tie the game in literally 3 minutes.
Terrible goals conceded, bro. Terrible. There was no communication, no hustle. Suarez, like, legit would have the ball directly solo in the box, no one near him, and yet he takes an extra dribble or two to get control, and then by that time all the defenders are around him, and that's it. You can't do it anymore. He would have the whole. Listen, before I have an aneurysm, because Daniel knew when he saw me, bro. I was like, I might have broken the table, bro. Not gonna lie, I might have broken that table. He was by himself, bro. He could have at least tried to make a run, but he didn't. He would just like slow down. It was like legit, maybe a 1-on-2. Slow down, and all of a sudden, and within seconds, it was like a 1v6, and he had to wait for everybody to show up. Listen, I don't mind if he plays, but just as long once you see that he can't keep up anymore or he's getting gassed, put in Campana, put in somebody that can give you that extra couple miles in the game. I think Robert Taylor shouldn't have been taken out, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, and so for the question in hand, do I think it would be a failure? If Messi is not playing, let's say they make the final or they go deep in the playoffs and Messi is not playing, it would be a somewhat failure if they make the playoffs and they don't have Messi the whole way. Like if they from now till then, if they make the playoffs and make it deep with this team, it would be a somewhat failure, because it would be impressive that this team without Messi made it that far. But with Messi, I think they do win it all. But overall, I think it would be a somewhat failure.
Let me, and I can toss it to Wampy, but let me pose it this way, because as Brandon was making a point, I started thinking about this. Messi's contract ends in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if he's going to continue. We don't know if he's going to play in the 2026 World Cup with the national team. There hasn't been a decision on that yet. He has already said that Inter Miami is going to be his last club. My question is, and this is something we can revert kind of to basketball, where we saw with the Big Three era here in Miami, that if they didn't win a championship, would the Big Three era have been a failure? So my question reverts to, because this is this is a very, I don't want to say dangerous, but interesting time for Inter Miami. Because if Messi does not renew after 2025, and let's say he retires, you are in a very interesting place as a club. And if you happen to not, that puts you in a time window, right? In a time frame. If you don't win an MLS Cup with Messi before he retires, do you call it a failure?
Yeah. Honestly, I think you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, the only
This
highlight of
whole
this
team.
so far has been the League's Cup. That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, but I would
This
say
whole
this
team
though.
has been like,
All right, Zlatan immediately goes on to win the MLS Cup. Gareth Bale comes in the league, wins an MLS Cup. If Messi doesn't win an MLS Cup, it's going to be a shocking result. Shocking result to see from this entire experiment.
But did LAFC really need Gareth Bale? Like, let's be honest.
They did it.
Last minute goal.
Yeah.
Last minute goal in that game. So they needed him there. But that's what, well, again, just trying to reiterate myself.
Yeah.
The moment you see a big name jump in, it's like carnage for any other team facing them. If we have Inter Miami not winning with Messi, that either means one or two things. The MLS has gotten to that point where, the quality is that good, or two, Inter Miami can't get a damn season with everyone on the damn pitch. Plain and simple. And again, that's all from international stuff. This is a bad timeline.
Wampy, go ahead. Finish your point.
Honestly, like watching this Inter Miami team and watching like how they struggle and how, all this is kind of going downhill. We're in a downward trajectory right now. It's just the truth. We're going up. We're starting to dip a little bit. And seeing all these old stars, it honestly reminds me of the failed experiment in Brooklyn where they tried to get Paul Pierce and they tried to get Kevin Garnett, and you flush in all that old talent, maybe 2-3 young guys, and you just say, hey, go ball, go win, and it just didn't work. That's what I'm kind of seeing, especially with the Luis Suarez. You guys said he can't run. You have a bunch of old talent. You have a bunch of, stars that used to be stars in Europe come over here, and now that Messi's hurt, they failed to prepare, basically thinking these guys are old. Let's make sure we get some quality backup players, some quality young guys that we could just kind of push in just in case anything happens, just in case Luis Suarez doesn't have legs anymore, just in case Messi gets hurt. That's what I feel like Inter Miami failed to do. And if they don't win, I think it's a complete failure.
I agree. And it's a different approach in Los Angeles because LAFC, like you mentioned, in Miami, we've gotten a lot of old stars like Jordi Alba, Busquets, Messi. LAFC has now gotten Olivier Giroud, who's still young. They've got Hugo Lloris at goalie, still young. And they're rumored to now sign Antoine Griezmann. So LAFC is stacking up nice too. They won't be the only superstar team in the league. So
no, of course, but I'm just saying, it's Messi.
Of course,
the competition comes with that. He's got to win something. Again, one League's Cup, but MLS, that's the league itself. He's got to win that.
Yeah.
Listen, before we change the subject, I think it's gonna be this might be unpopular. I don't think Inter Miami needs Messi if they just fix their defensive issues. They got scorers. They got playmakers.
Yeah.
It's just that defense lets them down in situations where they need them to step up, just like in this past game with Columbus Crew, where all you had to do was park the bus and you're on to the next round. And you lose 3 straight goals, bro.
Yeah.
Dramatic fashion.
Not good. Sticky on soccer is reported that Mauricio Pochettino is going to become the new head coach of the U.S. men's national team. You can only imagine as U.S. soccer fans how much that was needed because Greg Berhalter was not it. Let's look at Pochettino, introduce you guys to Mauricio Pochettino. In his managerial career, he started in Spain in La Liga, a team called Espanyol. From there, he moved on to England and Southampton. And then this is really where he got his big name, and it was with Tottenham. They were able to win the Leagues Cup. There is a Leagues Cup in England, not the Premier League, but the Leagues Cup. Was able to win that with Tottenham. And then the big one was he got Tottenham to their first ever in club history European final. Unfortunately, they fell to Liverpool in that game. What's big about Pochettino, and he went on to PSG and he coached Chelsea as well. What's big about Pochettino is that he likes to develop youth. When he was in Spain, he brought up players that made it onto the Spanish national team. When he was at Tottenham, he brought in players like Harry Kane. The guy literally brought Harry Kane from the Tottenham developmental squad into the first squad and made it onto the English national team alongside Dele Alli and Eric Dyer. There were three big players that were big onto the national team that Pochettino kind of found and kind of crafted and put them onto the Tottenham first team, and they were big in that success. And I think that's good for the U.S. I think that the U.S. needs to continue to develop its players, and I think Pochettino will do a great job of finding players throughout MLS academies. Obviously, right now, the roster of the U.S. national team is very dominant on players playing in Europe, which is great. I think right now this is the most talented roster that the U.S. has ever had. So it'll be interesting to see Pochettino coach that. But I think him and his career, he has winning records in almost all the places he has coached. I think him exploiting the youth and bringing up and finding youth will be a big thing for this U.S. squad. So me personally, I like the hire, and I'm ready to see him to get to work.
Yeah, I think it's a good hire. I think it's a great hire. The only question I have is just international, right? Not a lot of international experience, not anything. So this is going to be kind of a new stepping ground for him. I think development will be a key thing in, of course, the future of the program for the United States. But at the same time, 2 years from now, we're going to be hosting a World Cup.
Yeah.
We're going to be needing guys to get going as soon as possible. Yeah. So with him, and again, I'm basically assuming he's going to be ready by that October match against Mexico. So I'm assuming that he's going to be, straight out of the gate, try to get used to Copa area, United States, Mexico, some South America, some Central America teams. So he's going to be understanding that physicality will be a part of the program. It has to be. So those are the only two questions I really have. International, and as well, how fast can he get this team to be adaptive to, what we saw in Copa, being physical on the international stage?
Yep. Jocko, Wampy, any of you two guys?
You can go, Wampy.
Well, honestly, when I watched U.S. men's, I've got more into soccer, like as I got into high school, probably like freshman year, I got really into a men's national team. And watching Berhalter, it just it didn't feel right. Something always kind of felt off. I didn't know enough, so I couldn't put my finger on it, but just something didn't feel correct. I'm also a big Real Madrid fan. So I'd watch those games and then watch the U.S. men's national team games, and it's there was a disconnect. And I feel like Pochettino can actually bring, can connect it, can actually bring that European, that I don't even know what it is, but he could bring that to the team. And that's something that we've honestly been missing. It's been missing an it factor. Every time I watch a U.S. game, it's kind of just been bland. And I feel like Pochettino can bring it there.
Yep. Jonka?
I think the factor that you're looking for is that U.S. men's national team has not had a coach that they've wanted to play for. I don't think anybody want to play for Berhalter, bro. Let's be honest. If I had a coach that really motivated us and really believed that we could be the guy, the players that we could do to win the World Cup or win some sort of whatever, then I'm gonna play for you as hard as I possibly can, and so is everybody else. And I think that's what USA is kind of missing, is that sort of person that could push them to continue on to that next level, go Super Saiyan, as I would like to say. I think that's what they need. Honestly, that's just me. Because if you earlier today earlier this show with Brian Flores, when you're basically have like somebody saying, "Oh, you're trash, you're trash, you're trash," or you're not giving you what you need to like just that positivity, it's gonna sink you down. Now, if you have a coach that believes in you, that can teach you the right things, how to play, when to play, when to do this and that, and then you're like, okay, I think we look good. I believe in what he's saying. We can show it on the field, and then we can step forward. And hopefully, by the time the World Cup starts, we are like, okay, we're confident that we can make a run this time, and especially on our home turf, and move forward. We just need that element. Like if I just need that coach, bro. That if you're down 1-0 at the half and you're coming into that second half, I need you to motivate your team to be like, all right, guys, we're down 1-0. That's okay. We've been in this situation before. Let's go out the second half and win this game, and then we can just take it and then have the rest of the day off. Let's go. Like something like that. I don't think the USA men's national team has had that. I need that. Bro, you know how crazy USA would go if we won the World Cup here, bro? Oh my god! Like, and listen, I need him to bring in the players that he wants to bring in. The how do you say the development that we're looking for? Obviously, Captain America is gonna do his thing, but besides Captain America, I don't really see anybody else that really like jumps out at me. So hopefully these bench guys can maybe make the starting team. But overall, I like the hire, but he needs to prove it. He needs to prove it. Like you said, they play in October. You said, Brad?
Yep, against Mexico. Yep.
In that 2-month span, I need to see some sort of, I know, some flash of something that we need to see, because we can't be just losing games to Venezuela, Costa Rica, so-and-so, bro. Like, we're too big of a country to be losing like that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, just saying it as like that, bro. That's all I'm going to say before I lose the cap.
So I want to talk about this topic because I think it made big media headlines, and I thought it was pretty stupid. But Olympic track star, dubbed the fastest man in the world right now, Noah Lyles, who has been recently in the news a lot for stuff other than track, going one-on-one with Tyreek Hill of the Miami Dolphins. Noah Lyles said that winning a Super Bowl, he says he does not know why they're considered world champions. And Tyreek Hill, when he was told this, had nothing to say about the comment and said, I can beat Noah Lyles on a one-on-one race. I'm faster than Noah Lyles. And Noah Lyles responded, I don't even know who Tyreek Hill is. It's stupid for me. Like, listen, the United States, it's called American football for a reason. If you would put it into play against other countries, obviously the United States would dominate other countries in American football. I have no other argument than that. It's stupid from Noah Lyles.
You want to go, Brandon, bro? One of you go, bro, because
I'm just going to take two things on the topic, and this is me being a former track star. Track speed is different, football feet, right? Very different. And two, we're talking about talent level, all right? I'm a big NBA guy. His NBA comments, I remember them very vividly.
Yeah.
Watch the Olympics. An all-NBA roster USA team went out to get gold. Every single best player you can find around internationally was an NBA player. That's the reason why they're called NBA World Champions. That's why it's called NFL World Champions. It's the most highest level of the sport played in one area in the world. Best in the world. Those are my two comments on it. Also, Lyles would win that race against Tyreek. Again, track speed. I don't want to go against any Olympian at the 100-meter. That's me personally.
Tyreek kind of fast, man. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Look. Honestly, this guy Noah Lyles pisses me off, bro. Like straight up. He's first of all, after doing all this and after Tyreek Hill said sign the contract, let's run a race, he calls Tyreek a clout chaser. I didn't know who Noah Lyle was until he called out the men's national team for basketball. So in reality, I feel like he's more of a clout chaser. He's trying to push the agenda of being like this bad guy, this guy that has like, bro, he has like this aura to him that, oh my God, I'm just better than everyone. And you guys aren't really the best because you guys don't compete against the best. It's a lie. If all the best players play in one league, they deserve to be named the world champions.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost him.
Anyways, keep it going.
I'll go.
Go, Jonka.
Okay, well, the problem what I have with this idiot Noah Lyles, which doesn't make sense to me, is I love how he talks crap about the USA men's basketball team, but yet he goes on Shannon Sharp's podcast and says he doesn't know who Jokic is. But then he also talks crap about, USA not winning the FIBA World Cup. Not even the Olympics, bro. FIBA. Yeah. And then he says, I don't know who Tyreek is.
I'm like, are you American? Because you're in your country. Like, I don't get it.
And I think Tyreek will win that race. I think Tyreek is quicker. He was a track star in college. He's still fast to me. He's smaller.
Yeah, no, he is.
He's closer to the ground, which gives him more speed. Noah Lyles, boy, don't you need to figure out your COVID situation?
Yep.
Hey, just telling you right now, bro. Noah Lyles is the most annoying person ever, and I agree with Juan. He's a cloud chasing, bro. Everybody that in America kind of knows who Tyreek Hill is. No one knew who Noah was, bro, until he said something about the basketball team. Like, I'm like on my life, on every dead relative I know.
Which honestly, like, props to him. He's doing a great job building his brand and making himself known. But at the end of the day, bro, like,
do you know who he reminds me of?
No one likes this guy.
He reminds me of LeVar Ball, bro.
They have like that same like little aura, that same like persona of like, I'm just gonna talk to get more attention to me. The thing is, LeVar Ball did it for 3 of his boys, and now all 3 boys are making money. Even LiAngelo, who's playing in like Shanghai somewhere, God knows where, he's still making money.
Yeah,
he's still making good money. Noah Lyle, like, now he's making money, but it took him to basically hate on the entire like United States, like every sport in the United States, to actually make money.
Sounds like a communist to me.
And then obviously the whole Olympics, he made it to the Olympics and stuff like that, and he was given the term fastest man in the world, which I get it. It's basically because Usain Bolt's not around anymore, but if Usain was still around, for me that's the fastest man in the world. It's always going to be Usain Bolt. Like no one is going to surpass that.
Until somebody breaks his record, ain't nobody fastest man in the world. Usain Bolt can be dead for 200 years. If no one can beat that record, he's still fastest man in the world.
Yep, I agree. Well, anyways, we are approaching the end of our show tonight. We appreciate you guys tuning in, checking in, watching our show week in and week out. Of course, always stay plugged in to all of our content on social media, whether that's Instagram, X, TikTok, and we're always posting daily on there. So thank you guys again. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next week for a brand new episode 151. Have a great rest of your week, and good night.